Hello! Welcome to the very first episode of the Your Fitness Consult podcast. My name is Dr. Mary Ellen O'Brien. I'm a board-certified physician in internal medicine and obesity medicine. I've been practicing as a physician for, about 18 years now, and I'm really excited to do this podcast. I've been wanting to do it for a really long time. I really want to bring together all of the aspects of the fitness journey into one place, as a physician from the medical standpoint, but also as from the standpoint of someone who's been on my own fitness journey for most of my adult life. We'll get to know each other more as we go on, but I've been up and down in weight. I've been on all sorts of diets, keto and intermittent fasting. And finally, in my 40s, I was able to succeed in a successful weight loss journey. And I've learned so much, both as a physician, as just a regular gal trying to, achieve my goals. And I really wanted one centralized place to bring all the points of view together. I feel sometimes that the fitness landscape is often disjointed. You have people pulling you in all different directions, influencers online, coaches, doctors, even people that achieve the goals that you want to achieve, listening to what they've done to make themselves achieve success. And not everyone agrees with each other, and people kind of say similar things, but maybe it's still hard to know exactly where to go. So I'd like to think about this as a centralized place. Let's bring all of the knowledge together from all points of view. And because I like alliteration, I want to look at it in terms of all the M's. We have macros and muscles, movement, mindset, mental health. Momentum is a big thing, and of course the medical standpoint as well. So I'm really excited to get going. Let's get started. The topic of today's podcast is going to be, why am I so hungry all the damn time? And I know that many of you out there can relate to that. I've been in the cut phase, trying to lose weight. I've been in maintenance, and I've been in a bulk. And in all phases, I am just hungry. So I can definitely relate to this on my own, from my own journey. I'm currently on a deficit right now. And so I'm definitely employing a lot of the tricks that I learned from my very first deficit a few years ago that sustained. So let's talk about some of the reasons why that you're hungry all the time. Before we do, I just want to say that one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this podcast is because I feel that there's a lot of shame and there's a lot of guilt that especially women, but men too, feel in our society when it comes to struggling with the fitness journey, because hunger is a big part of this. And it's not always easy to push that back and to kind of work through that in a mind over matter kind of way. Often we give in, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with me for giving into that hunger. It is really hard to talk your way out of a biological process that's going on inside of you. And so a big reason for this whole podcast in general is I want to continually remind you, myself, all of us, that there is nothing wrong with us. The fitness journey is tough, and there are definitely strategies and ways to make it less tough. And once you get through that initial fat loss phase, it becomes much more enjoyable. But it's really difficult at first. It takes at least 6 weeks for your behavior to become habits. But it can take even longer than that. And so when you are struggling to set up your strategies and your processes, it can weigh on you a lot mentally, and it can make you feel less than. It can make you feel like there's something wrong with you. And I'm here to say you are perfectly fine and you are doing a good job, and just keep going, and I'm here to help. And we're going to talk about some strategies, things that I struggle with all the time as well. Nobody is perfect out there. So hunger. Okay. One of the big reasons why you're hungry if you're trying to lose weight is that you are probably in a calorie deficit. What is a calorie deficit? That is when that your body needs, say, 2,000 calories to maintain your normal weight, including all of your normal activities that you do throughout the day. And you are probably eating less than that. If you're eating in a 300 calorie deficit, then by definition, you're not getting enough fuel to feed your body's normal activities that you do every day. And you're going to be hungry as a result of that. Why just that alone are you hungry? Well, there's a couple of hormones that we'll talk about. Two big ones are ghrelin and leptin. So ghrelin is what we refer to as our hunger hormone. That's what signals to our brain in the hypothalamus that says, hey, let's eat. We are hungry. I want some food. Ghrelin talks to me a lot, especially when you're in a calorie deficit. Your ghrelin is going to increase as a result of that. And ghrelin is made in the stomach, and it senses when you do not have food in the stomach, and then it signals to the brain. Ghrelin is tricky though, because ghrelin does a lot. There's so many different pathways. But not only does it signal the brain that, yes, let's eat, but it shuts off the pathway that says, no thanks, we're good. So it acts in both ways. But then the trickiest way that it acts is it actually, when you do eat, it lights up that reward center in your brain that says, I like this, I want more of this. So there's multiple pathways that ghrelin gets us to, let's eat and let's keep on eating. And then there's leptin. Leptin is the hormone that lets us know that we're good, we don't need to eat anymore. It helps us to realize we're full, we're satiated. That is made in the fat cells as opposed to ghrelin made in the stomach. That also signals to the hypothalamus, like, we're cool, let's not eat anymore. And it's similar to ghrelin in that not only does it activate the pathway to shut off us eating, but it deactivates ghrelin so that it says, ghrelin, you shut up right now, we're good, no more talking from you, we don't need to eat anymore. And so there are different things that keep those in balance or out of balance. Certainly when you are in a calorie deficit, when you're not eating as much to support all of your activities, the fuel that you need for all of your activities, ghrelin's going to be talking to you. You know, you really should expect to be hungry at some point during the day when you're in a calorie deficit. It should not be the most hunger you've ever had. It should be a moderate amount of hunger. Mild would be better too, but if it's moderate, that's okay. That is to be expected. It's not easy to deal with, but that is to be expected. One thing that I found is that when I was first in a calorie deficit, that I used to get that panic inside when I started feeling hungry. It's that panic of like, I need to eat now, or like, this is just going to get worse, like, or I can't focus, I can't do anything else, I have to give into this. And it wasn't until I let myself sit with it for a little bit. It's not easy to do, but if you can, let yourself sit with that feeling. Do what you have to do. Put on some music, pick your favorite song or two, just focus on that. Watch a video on YouTube, scroll on social media, any mindless thing that you can do. Even call a friend, go for a walk. Whatever you need to do to distract yourself for even 15 minutes. I found that once I was able to distract myself, to calm down my anxiety about it, I was able to see that, nothing bad happened to me from being hungry, that it was okay, and that often the feeling passes, or it's something that it's not as heightened anymore because I'm not as heightened about it anymore. And then you realize, okay, I know what this is. This is ghrelin talking to me, and I don't have to be best friends with ghrelin, but I don't have to be scared of ghrelin. I can label it. I said, this is a biologic process inside of me, and that I know this is to be expected. This is part of my goals of trying to lose weight. And when I do feel it, I know what it is. I can do these other things that can help distract me. And I also know that if I'm planning out my meals correctly, that in another hour, 2 hours, I'm going to have another meal and that I will have more calories. So that's just something that I recommend trying to do. when you're in a calorie deficit and you're feeling ghrelin take over. If we want to talk about some other things that can cause hunger. So on the one hand, you have, if you're in a calorie deficit, you're not getting enough fuel for your activities. And then you have, kind of related to that, is if you start to increase your activity from what you normally do, then by definition there as well, you'll be in a calorie deficit because now your body is requiring more fuel because you've increased your activities. So this is if, you normally get 5,000 steps a day, but all of a sudden you're getting 8,000 steps a day. All of a sudden you're going on a couple runs, starting to work out. Whatever that you're doing that is increasing what your body needs to fuel itself for the day, you are then putting yourself also in a calorie deficit if you keep the amount of calories you eat the same. So that same pathway will activate ghrelin. So those are the two most common reasons why we are hungry all the time. But let's go through some more because there's a lot to this. So, I know we all know that we need to sleep more. I work nights. I do not get enough sleep. No matter how hard I try, it's really difficult. If you're a night shift worker, I know you can relate to that. It's really hard to get enough sleep during the day. So I'm constantly trying to work on this and work with this. But if you do not get enough sleep, that can activate cortisol. Cortisol will make you feel hungrier and you will want to eat more. So when we say, sleep is important, get your sleep for the night, it's not just for the restful state of your body, not just for the recovery, but when you are trying to lose weight and you are in a calorie deficit, sleep becomes even more important because you don't want to activate those pathways that are going to make you feel hungrier. No matter even what you're eating, it's going to make you feel hungrier. Related to that would be stay hydrated. This is another one I know is easier said than done. This is another one I struggle with, is to get enough water in. There's really no set agreed amount of water that everyone needs every day. It is a little dependent on your activity level and other factors within each individual. But in general, I think it's a good guideline to get in about 80 ounces to 100 ounces of water a day. And if you don't get enough water in, you can then also get those hunger pains. You can get ghrelin activated and making you feel hungry. And so it's not only good for your body to have the hydration that it needs. The cells definitely need water. Your tissues need water. But it's good in general for hunger. It will curb hunger for you to get in your adequate amount of water a day. And how do you do that? If you're like me and you're really bad at this, what's a strategy that you can use to get in more water? So this is what I really had to do. I used to carry around like a big water bottle. Like, okay, this is like 40 ounces, get a couple of these in, I'm good. And then I look at it hours later and I'm only like this far down on it. And I learned that with me, if I got a smaller water bottle, it was easier for me to finish that off because it, I guess, psychologically, subconsciously didn't seem as overwhelming. For example, I have a 20-ounce water bottle, so I know that I need to get 4 or 5 of these a day. That doesn't seem overwhelming to me to know 4 or 5 of these. And if I tell myself, okay, when you wake up in the morning, make sure you have one of these. And I don't do that right away. I don't get up and down water. I do get up and want my morning coffee. So what I had to actually tell myself, and the strategy I had to give myself was, okay, wake up, have your cup of coffee. There's nothing like that first sip of coffee. If you like coffee, you know what I'm talking about. And then before I have that second cup, which I'm definitely going to want every day, I need to down one of these. Now, I've had a cup of coffee and I have not finished my water. So I've been dying for a second cup, but I have to finish this first. So I'm holding to that. So that's my kind of strategy, my trick that I play it with myself to get myself to get more water in throughout the day. So as I said before, it can take some time for your behavior to build up into a habit, something that's automatic that you do. And to get to that point, you have to play these kind of games, tricks, develop strategies in order to get yourself to make things automatic. There's a lot of things that I've been able to make automatic on this fitness journey. For some reason, this water thing, it's been difficult. But these are the strategies I'm using that's able to help me become more successful. Try it if you think it'll work for you. Tie it to something that is meaningful to you, and you'll see that over time you can build it up into a habit. Another reason why we may feel so hungry is with increased stress. Increased stress will increase cortisol, and cortisol will make us hungry, make us want to eat more. And I know that it's very difficult. We're all very stressed. We all have a lot going on. It's really difficult to say, listen, just don't be so stressed all the time, all right? And then everything will be fine. Because that's just not realistic. So you have to employ some strategies to help counter that as well. We'll have a whole episode on cortisol. I know that's kind of the big talk on fitness social media these days. But in general, there's a lot of things that we can do to decrease stress. I mean, working out in and of itself can do that. Certainly going for walks, certainly meditation, yoga, there's different strategies that you can employ, breathing techniques, things like that. And then there's medical reasons why you could be hungry. There's issues with the thyroid. Under or overactive thyroid can do it. There could be certain medications that you're on, including antidepressants, including steroids such as prednisone, including progesterone. And then there are other conditions, diabetes, PCOS. There's a lot of medical reasons why you could have increased hunger. And that's why I always recommend to talk to your doctor about this, get blood work done. And then there are psychological reasons. I'm a big proponent of mental health. I've suffered from anxiety my entire life. And so definitely there are lots of psychological, lots of mental health reasons why you could feel hungry all the time that actually doesn't have to do with ghrelin or a biological process telling you that you're hungry. You could have an association with food for when you're bored, when you're feeling anxious, when you're emotional. There's so many different reasons. We'll go into those more in a future episode as well. And then finally, we'll talk briefly about hormones, reproductive hormones to be more specific. So let's talk about estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen in general can kind of curb our appetite a little bit. Progesterone will increase our appetite. There will be the second episode that we're going to have will be all about hunger during your menstrual cycle, during perimenopause, menopause. So we'll go into more depth about that in the very next episode. So now that we've talked about an overview of many of the reasons why we can be hungry throughout the day, that brings us to our fitness consult question of the episode, which is, why am I so hungry at night specifically? I know we have all dealt with that at one time or another. Where you're doing okay throughout the day, it seems manageable, and then at night you're like, I have the hungry horrors, I need to eat everything, and then a lot of times we do. And again, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you for giving into that. That's not obviously the goal if we want to lose fat. But again, it's okay. There is nothing wrong with you. And that is fine. A lot of times life is complicated. Life is not easy at times. And we are all learning. And if you have a day where you can't stay on track with your goals, that is perfectly fine. You just get back on track the next day. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel guilty. Don't shame yourself. You are a good person. You are doing something difficult. And there should be no expectations that this is going to be an easy process that you can just snap your finger and say, I'm doing it and I got it all. So it's totally fine. But let's talk about strategies to help prevent that from happening very frequently. Because again, if our goal is to lose fat, then we want to curb this. So why are you so hungry at night? So there's a few reasons. Most common one is probably that you're not eating enough calories throughout the day. So we're more active, obviously, during the daytime hours when you're out and about. It's during the part of your day where you're the most active, is when you are burning most of your calories. And it's when your body needs that fuel. And a lot of the times, people want to kind of save calories for dinner or a little snack after dinner because they are afraid that they'll get to the end of the day and that they'll be so hungry. But then when you do that and you get to the end of the day and you are so hungry, it kind of is this like feedback loop of like, that's right, let me save more calories for the end of the day because I am always so hungry at night. But if you take a step back and you eat at least probably 2/3, at least 50% to 2/3 of your calories for breakfast and lunch, maybe even a snack or two, you'll find that you'll be satiated enough for dinner that you won't feel like you need to eat and eat and eat because you're giving your body the fuel that it needs for all of the processes that you're doing throughout the day. When you're having your meals, you should try to make them balanced meals every time. So whenever I have my meals, I make sure I have enough protein. You should have about 20 grams of protein with each meal, at least 20 grams of protein, because that will not only get you towards your goal, keep building throughout the day of your goal of your daily protein, but protein will make you feel full. So you never want to have a meal without having some protein with it, or you will not feel full for very long. So you want to have your protein, you want to have your carbs, you want to have a little bit of fat. Don't skip out on the fat. Your body needs that for many processes, including hormone health for men and women. So make sure you have enough fat as well. For carbohydrates, you want to have complex carbs more than simple sugars. Definitely don't feel like you have to cut out your simple sugars. I love me some desserts. I love me my sweets. And you don't have to cut those out when you're on a calorie deficit, when you're trying to lose fat. But with your meals, carbs should mostly be complex carbs. That would be rice and your starches, potatoes. It would be things that your vegetables that are high in fiber, because fiber will help fill you up. The fiber in and of itself that you're getting with every meal will again carry you throughout the day. In general, the recommendations are from 25 to 35 grams of fiber a day for a female and 35 to 45 for a male. And you can track this in whatever fitness tracker that you're using. But if you do have your vegetables with every meal, you should be able to hit that fiber goal, usually without issue. So again, with every meal, make sure you have your adequate amount of protein, complex carbs. And then I always like to have a little bit of fruit with each meal as well. I always like something sweet after I eat. And I grew up in an Italian Jersey family. We like that sweet with every meal. We like that sweet right away. So I usually have some berries, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, and put a little honey. There's my little bit of simple sugar, and put a little bit of honey with them. And I have that shortly after that. And I have that with almost every meal that I have. That also will fill me up. It will give me the fiber. Those berries are very high in fiber, and it helps me hit my fiber goal for the day as well. We talked about having a balanced meal, have more calories throughout the first 2/3 of your day. Make sure you build in some snacks for yourself. And when you have your snacks, make sure there's a little bit of protein there too. You can combine things. So you can have a cheese stick and some fruit. You can have Greek yogurt, which is some protein. And again, you can have some berries with that. Put some honey in that, which I love, plain Greek yogurt with some honey in it. So there are things that you can do to help give yourself that little boost of protein throughout the day as well to help keep yourself full. But what if you do all this and you find, or even if you don't, if you just find yourself at night and you're like, I don't know what to do. I'm starving. I've had dinner. I've had my little bit of dessert. I've gone through my calories and I still need to eat more. What do you do? And that happens to me all the time. We can't always plan out our days the way we want to. And even if you go in the day with a plan, things happen throughout the day that kind of can throw us off of our schedule, of our idea of what we had for the day to keep us on track. So if you find yourself at night, you've run out of calories, and you don't know what to do, have a plan in place. During my first calorie deficit a few years ago, I ate a couple of those Laughing Cow wedges. That seemed to do the trick for me. It was my go-to. But I've learned to do even something better for me this time, because that's a small amount, those 2 wedges. It's a small amount of actual volume of food. It seemed to do the trick at the time, but what I eat now is this popcorn right here. Jolly Time Healthy Pop. I don't know if you've ever had it. It is good. I get these on Amazon. They're 100-calorie mini bags. I've seen in the stores this, but like the bigger bags, 3 in a pack, but this gives you 10 of these little guys, 100 calories in each of this. This little thing fills up a whole container. I have one right here. It actually fills this to the top, but McGrellin was talking to me today, so I've already started eating my popcorn. And so that is 100 calories, which is not a lot of calories. It's a whole big container of popcorn. It's very filling. Often before I go to bed and I find myself hungry and I reach for that popcorn, I don't even eat the whole container. I might eat only half of the container. But I know even if I do eat the whole thing, that is just 100 calories. And if you are in a 300 calorie deficit, you're still in a 200 calorie deficit by the end of the night. So you didn't do any damage whatsoever to your goals. Again, to reiterate, if you eat right at your maintenance calories for that day, if you eat above that, you are not doing damage at all to yourself, to anything. So if your goal is fat loss, and I want to be in a 300 calorie deficit, I'm now in a 200 calorie deficit, and I still feel like I'm on track. It's going to take me a little longer to lose that weight if it's something that I do regularly, but if it's once in a while, it's not hurting my goals at all whatsoever. It's been a really good tool for me to help me through this current calorie deficit that I'm on. Make sure you have a plan in place, you have a go-to, make sure that whatever your go-to is, it's stocked in the house, so that when that time comes, again, when our mind is racing, when we're feeling that hunger, and we often don't make the best decisions, you already have a plan. It's mindless. This is what I'm going to eat, this is what's going to work for me, and it's there, and it's done, and then your mind doesn't have to think about it anymore. Thank you for watching the first episode. This was a lot of fun for me. I can't wait to do more. I can't wait to hear from you guys. Follow me on Instagram. It's Dr. Mare at Your Fitness Consult. You can watch this episode on YouTube at Your Fitness Consult Podcast, Facebook page, Your Fitness Consult Podcast. I have a Patreon in which I'm going to do companion episodes to this podcast. So that also on Patreon is at Your Fitness Consult Podcast. And please go to my website or Instagram to submit a question. The website is yourfitnessconsult.com. Through my Instagram, you can get there, which is Dr. Mare. You can also get there through the website. Submit a question, because I want to do questions at the end of every episode. I want to hear from you guys. Give me feedback, ask a question. Anything you want to talk about, we'll talk about. And I can't wait to talk to you soon. Thank you for watching or listening to the podcast. This podcast is not meant to be medical advice. I'm a physician, but I'm not your physician. And this is not a binding physician-patient relationship. All of this is for informational purposes only. Please don't use this content to substitute for your own medical provider's advice. Please go talk to your medical providers about all the questions that you have, and please listen to their advice. If there's an urgent situation you find yourself in, please call 911, go to the nearest emergency department, and just know that medical knowledge always evolves. So while this may be current knowledge at the time, whenever you're listening or watching this, that knowledge may have evolved. Talk to you soon.